right, that's why I read back up here. Look at when he said back up here in verse 17. He said, for the flesh does against the flesh, and the spirit against the spirit, and so that you do not the thing that you wish. The flesh want to do what he want to do. But the Spirit of God wants to please God. And as long as you're working, you're never going to be productive. Let me give you another example. Remember when we was in school, we were doing math problems, right? You had two ways of doing it. You can write it all down, long division, or you can put it in the calculator, right? Now, you may know how to do that math problem, but when you're writing it all out, you mess around and make a mistake. Something that's supposed to be negative, you didn't make it negative. Something that you're supposed to subtract, you add it. Something that you're supposed to multiply, you messed around and divided. And because even though you know how to do it, you mess around and make a mistake. But if you take that calculator and put 7 divided by 49 in it, it's going to give you 7 every time. Right? So what God wants you to do is take your decisions, take your choices, take your life, and put it in his hand, in the calculator, and it's always going to come out right.
Oh, yes.
Because as long as you're trying to work it out, you might hit the mark one time. You might hit it twice. But there's still room for error when you're doing it. Okay? So remind your neighbor against the neighbor. As long as you're working, you will never be productive.
You will never be productive.
Amen? And as I bring this all to a conclusion, I'd like to inform you that old ways will never produce new outcomes. I'm going to say that again. Old ways will never produce new outcomes. Okay? What did they say the definition of insanity? To do the same thing over and over and hope for a new outcome. And what we do a lot of times is we say, well, you know, this worked for grandma, so I'm going to do it. But, you know, it didn't all work out for grandma, did it? That's the part we don't like to take into consideration. Grandma will still cuss you out at 80. That's the part you don't talk about. But grandma still, grandma still told you that she won't give that preacher no money. So old ways will never produce new outcomes. Unless we get into the things of the New Testament, you're not going to be able to do it. And this is what I thank God for bringing this back to America. Paul said that if you rely on circumcision, then now you got to do the whole law. So if you want the law to confirm, you got to do everything right. And we know that there ain't nobody that can do that but one man. I believe here that every man here today genuinely wants to be better. I truly believe that. Because if you didn't, you wouldn't be here. I truly believe that everybody wants to be successful. No one wakes up in the morning saying, I'm going to do whatever I can to do to fail. Nobody never does that. God knows where you are, man. He knows exactly where you are. He knows exactly what you done been through. He knows who you are. But the question is, do you? Do you know who you are? The Bible tells us in 2 Corinthians 5:17, we talked about this earlier, that those in Christ are new creatures. Yet most people, even after they've been saved, they wake up every morning and look in the mirror and see themselves as the same person they were before Christ. Going back to Pastor's story. Once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic. Once a cheater, always a cheater. Once a liar, always a liar. They say crazy stuff like, man just gonna be a man. That's a lie. And I'm gonna tell you something else that really makes me upset. I think one of the most disrespectful statements that we can make is, if I do that, that ain't gonna send me to hell. You acknowledging that it's wrong.
That's right.
But because you think you can get away with it and not go to hell, you say, I'm going to still keep doing it. That is one of the most disrespectful statements that you can make to God. I know that watching this TV ain't going to send me to hell, so I'm going to watch it. I know that if I cheat on my wife, she loves me so much she ain't going to leave me, so I'm just going to do it. That's so disrespectful. Because you won't want nobody to do something to you repeatedly, take your kindness for weakness. How do we feel that we have the right to do that to the Father in heaven? Amen? I want to ask you this today. How many of you know that you're working through the power of Christ? That you're working through the finished works of Christ? That you have grasped hold of what has already been done and received the fullness of the blessing? Because as long as you're working, you will never be productive. Amen? So let us stand. I want you to make this declaration, because I need to ask this question.